Today on Gamers Couch,
2017, the year in review.
Welcome to the couch. This is my anchor, Daniel, who really looks like a news anchor today.
Thank you for joining us. Actually, I could try to go for Sam from the Muppets.
Yeah, please.
Fellow Americans. No, I can't do the Sam voice. I'm sorry, and also I'm not a fellow to Americans, because I could then say fellow Germans, but then I would have to say that in German, and then it's not so.
And then I have to subtitle. No, too much work.
Yeah, it's
Welcome
difficult.
to the International Gamers Couch, the last couch of the year. Hence, we dressed up. We got some celebratory white wine.
It's the award season.
To be jolly?
No, it's the one where we say what we liked.
That too.
In review, and then say
some more
congratulations
and celebrations.
And then we say leave us alone. We're gone for the rest of the year.
Cheers.
Do we need to make a toast, or is it just like a ciabatta or no?
See, now you know why I brought in the white wine. He's even worse than on other weekends. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to you and to a lot of very good board games this year. I think it is maybe the best time to be playing board games again.
I was about to say, I heard that last year already. Well, as you already said, if you're new to the channel, this is the last video of 2017. Go back to the playlist. There's 45 Gamers Couches that we record.
Like a shot out of a pistol. Is like.
There's 45 Gamers Couches that we recorded this year, so you can look them up. There's even more, as you can see from the number of this Gamers Couch, that you can watch, so enjoy. But today we're not gonna go as we go every week, because it's a very special show. And we will have subsections, though. They are in the description box below if you want to hop onto a special section first, but we are going to talk about the top 3 competitive games, cooperative games, and dinner games.
And it'll end like Waldorf and Statler and the Muppets Christmas Carol when they say that was weird, that was pointless, that was short.
I loved it.
So be prepared to finally find a video under an hour.
Welcome to Fuzzywigs Christmas Party. Get ready for Muppet puns or things too. Anyway, we're also going to have a few stats that we're going to cover for this year. And, well, of course, we have to unpack, or you have to unpack, the advent calendar. The last final 2 boxes are going to come up. And because it's kind of a funny tradition and it just happens to be one of those weeks, Daniel also has to guess what the next game on Draw for Initiative is. Because during our vacation holiday season, there will be a video posted. Just saying.
Remember when I said this will be short? Let me backpedal slowly and vanish somewhere.
Yeah. So let's start with the stats, because they're kind of nice, I think.
I thought we start with rules and gameplay.
Like I said, it's not like every week. You also should start listening. That's a really good thing you might want to start next year. Listening.
Is that a rule?
Intentionally, it will be a rule in 2018.
Is that a rule now? Because then it's rule in games. Yes?
No, it's not a games play. But, my dears.
Games play?
It's definitely not a Saturday. It's a Friday that we're recording. We didn't have dinner yet, but we have a little white wine, so it's just gonna go to the head right away.
That makes no difference at all. You might also notice that we have this like generational shift between the old woman with the book and having her notes and the young man with his techno doodle thing.
No, it's more like Numenera. I'm just a later generation, and this is all the crazy magic that I cannot...
You're future hipster girl. I see. Okay.
So, but let's, for real now, go into some stats. Last year, we played 107 games and 260 rounds of those. This year, we played 117 games, so different ones, and 396 rounds of them, and that is just the games that we played at this house. It doesn't include any of the games that we played at BGG Con or that we played at either Daniel's parents' house or my mom's house. It's just on this very table here. And honestly, I don't know how we did that. I mean, yes, there's a lot of dinner games in there, but this year felt so cramped and so many things to do that we got so many games under our belt and recorded 45 gamers couches is kind of, I had to count twice and make sure that I did not miscount when I wrote down those stats.
I would go with the digital stats. The problem with that is I started recording them in April, I think, so I was missing a couple, so we have to go with Sarah's numbers. But they seem to be fairly correct, because I also, just from April to now, although that is not super important, but we have like 262 games over 85 different games, or 262 plays over 85 different games, and I think a total of 22 people we've been playing them
see,
with,
he's recording other stuff that my traditional book does not record. So what else is on your stats? Did you look at who won the most, who lost the most,
No, I
who
didn't.
won the greatest thing?
I can tell you that obviously we two had the most plays. For who won the most or who lost the most, that is actually not very telling as a stat, because since we tend to play a lot of short games.
I know, but is there like a crazy number somewhere, like the highest score on Quicks or something?
Well, I can tell you your highest
score. He did not prepare
on Twix.
Oh, don't get me hungry.
Rigs.
On the rigs. You did not prepare that? Because
I can tell you from what I recorded what the game is that we played the most.
I have Fear as the game we played most.
I don't.
Because you didn't record all of them.
Well, but most of them were like, okay, now we're in romantic territory.
Because I'm sitting here with a pencil and recording.
But I actually have Quicks still with 56 plays.
I have 50. But you recorded.
See? The statistical
you recorded when we played out of our like with your parents or my mom. I didn't record those games, so of course we have different numbers. But Quicks is the number 2. I have 53 for Fear, 50 plays for Quicks, and 19 for Nochmal. These are the top 3 most played games this year.
Now, since we or you probably. Either don't know other people we've been playing this with, or you've only seen them a few times. Do you want to know your win rate at games?
I saw it all through the year. I was around 30%.
Yes, you are.
Am I better or am I still in the 30s?
You are at 35%, and I think that is for competitive games. If cooperative games are counted into that, you are at 43%.
I'm in the 40s, guys. I'm in the 40s. Yeah, all the games that I lost were either area control or dice games. Very sure about that. Okay, what's your thingamajig on that? 70, you were...
It's not that important.
You had 70-something the last time I looked.
I'm at...
It's your award as well, come on.
I'm at 61%. But that's not because I'm good. It's just because I know the rules and make the ones up that lets me win.
And you choose you choose the people very carefully that you play with. So,
Correct.
Of course...
Correct. In the backstabby games, I might just be explaining the rules.
Yeah, sure.
So, let's get to...
Yes.
To the meat of the casserole, or how that saying goes.
Don't talk about dinner. I haven't cooked yet. So yes, let's go to the list. Which one do you want to start with? Competitive, cooperative, or dinner? I'm going to choose the second one. You're going to choose the first.
I feel like the top competitive, top cooperative games are like the highlights. So I think I'd say we start with dinner games. Although that is actually, I'm kind of feeling bad as having that as a category. However, this year we had quite a few games that were short, that were quick to play, and that we played a ton of times. And it also becomes unfair against other games that are longer form games if you would go like, well, I pick the game I like most by just the sheer amount of how often we played it.
But that's not what we do, so we're still being fair to the bigger games. But
it's the first really time hard to compare a story-heavy game to a
exactly. Game. But it is the first year that we have the category of dinner games, so I think it just shows that this year we didn't have a lot of time to play. Or if we had time to play, we had to go for the shorter games just to squeeze them in there, pretty much. So, okay, let's go for the dinner games. Top 3. Who starts? Do you want to start? Should I start with your number 3 pick?
I can start with my number 3 pick.
Go.
That would be Star Realms, mostly because I'm winning that quite often, and that's fine.
That is so true. I won it once or twice, maybe.
No, I also like the theme with like getting your fleet of stuff together, spaceships, having space stations, and then trying to outpace the other player and kind of committing to one strategy or another. I really enjoy that, and I have to say, Star Realms is almost on the cusp of not being a dinner game for me anymore, because it takes just long enough.
But then again, you sometimes got to digest for a little longer if you had a heavy meal, and then it's still or if you play against me and I lose so quickly, I think you can definitely say it's a dinner game. Sorry.
But that is just in the realm of the dinner game, and would make my number 3. What's your number 3?
That would be my honorary mention, and it was because it was between this game and the one that I picked, and my number 3 is Nochmal. And I do like challenges in life that are not overwhelming, and I feel that Nochmal is exactly that. It's a challenge, because dice. But it's gonna sound so pathetic, folks, but it's true. It also ticks the box, me being a lister and checking things off that I accomplished or that I did. And Nochmal pretty much checks off all the wonderful dice rolls that I get in there. I'm kind of slow getting my thing together, but I really like it. So it feels very satisfying to play it and, well, cross off those numbers and make you sigh heavily or curse outright. And sometimes I have a really good dice roll in there. So that's my number 3.
It happens very rarely, but yes, it happens.
I do take I record my successes, all 5 of them. So, of course,
but
come on.
So, congratulations to our number 3 dinner games, Star Realms and
Nochmal. Yes.
Do you want to do the number 2?
Yes, the number 2 was already mentioned in this video. It's a fast-forward game. It has not been on Gamers Couch, and we decided it's not going to be on Gamers Couch because it is one of the games that you totally spoil with card number 1. If you want to have our views about this game, we can give it to you in writing, on an email or a post on BGG.
I think
but we decided not to have it there. But it is a wonderful game that is so quick to play and so...
Which of the 3 will it be?
Fun, and, it just, even if you lose, it puts a smile on my face. Or if I lose, it puts a smile on my face, not if you lose. Well, that too. But it's called Fear. And it is the most played dinner game in this household this year, and I didn't see it coming.
And it came out in October to Spiel this year. So.
Yeah, and we have 53 plays down, and it's just... Yeah, like I said, I don't want to spoil anything for what it is all about, and I'm sorry, folks. If you want to have a spoiler couch, you gotta let us know. But we try to not have spoiler couches, so this is, for now, a game that's not gonna come onto Gamers Couch format.
And just to mention that for the entire series of the Fast Forward games, it's a bit weird because those are not narrative games. It's not like, let's say, a Time Stories or a Seventh Continent where we were already hard-pressed not to spoil anything. But I think we found for all the Fast Forward games, and I would also include Fabled Fruit to that.
Mm-hmm. So Fabled Fruit, Fortress, Fear, and Flee. These are the games that we're talking about now.
A lot of joy comes from discovering the rules for those games for the very first time, just by playing. And I fear, I am afraid of talking about that in a review format, because you kind of have to explain how the game is played. And either you just read the very first card, but that's not the entire game. It's not like there will be suddenly an entirely different game in that, but it changes, and that is one of the very nice and cool things about that. I think we feel we would take away from your experience. Yeah, we can say, if you need a very lovely dinner game, go for it. You can't go wrong. I think those are like the Exit series, where you could say,
it is replayable so many times, and it is still so cool. But we cannot show this game on this format here to show you what the game is about, to give you the feel of the game and not take away from your experience of the game. So we decided we're going to step back and only have it on the reviews.
So here's a surprise review within a year in review. I think it's safe to say that we really like the Fast Forward games. Pretty much all of them. They kind of all are a little bit different.
Fear being my favorite.
Some more than others. So that's why you picked Fear?
Oh. Yeah. Fear is my number 2. Yes.
So my number 2, now I need to check, is...
yes, the small... I can't read the writing on his iPhone. It's so small.
Actually, I had a table and copied that over into an email, and now I actually need to look twice what's in there, because the formatting is out of the window.
There's such cool things that are called books. You can write them in the size you need.
Go away.
I'm not going to go away. I'm sorry.
So my number 2 game is also a card game. Which is surprisingly also by Freedom and Freeze, and is called Fear.
We have the first crossover!
Yes.
Woo!
It's the same for me. I like the Fast Forward series. I really like about Fear that it's a game that I can play with my mind on autopilot, which makes
me win.
Which is not the most ringing endorsement, but I like having a game where you don't have to think too much, especially as a dinner game, because then you can talk over stuff or have other things going on. And Fear still has enough of these little, oh my god, you're an idiot moments, or you are terrible, please go away, sit at some other table, and it's fun.
Just to interject here and ask, because we didn't talk about this in particular beforehand, we said that we left space on this particular video here to share stories from that were cool or awesome or funny this year that are not about games that we're still going to have videos for, say Fear, for example. Would you like to share a story now, or would you like to share it later?
Because my story about Fear would always be like, it's Fear is a social stones paper scissors game or rock paper scissors game, depending on who's playing. Because we found out that you are the paper if I'm the scissors, and then it turns out
I'm scissors if you are the rock.
And then it turns out if other parties get invited to the game that I'm losing all the time and have no chance at winning. So there's this.
I lost 30 times at this game. We played it 53 times, and in one night we played more than 15 rounds, and I lost all of them. Look at my mouth. All of them. Big letters on screen. All of them. And it was to the point that he felt so bad. I mean, it's hilarious. We both giggled so bad. But he at the end, I was like, we're going to go through that stack now. We're going to finish this game. I have to, there has to be something in there.
There's a winning card in here for me.
Exactly. The last card will say, if you lost most at this game, you are the winner. Spoiler, the card didn't come, but he was feeling so bad in the end. He's like, are you sure? Oh, I'm so sorry. And I was sitting there, why? What did I do to the universe? But yeah, that's the story of fear. And I need 5 therapy sessions for that.
So congratulations and I hope there will be more games within the Fast Forward series, because I actually quite enjoy that also type of presenting rules to you in a kind of. You don't need to read the manual. You start playing the game, and the game will get more complex and introduce things.
Everybody can learn with you instead of you preparing a couple of days ahead.
One of the things I want to say in regards to reviewing the Fast Forward series, all 3 of those games do something incredibly well, and that is pacing out new stuff and setting up the initial deck in a way that really teaches you immediately how this is supposed to be played and how it works out. Mm-hmm. I heard, unfortunately, bad things about the English translation, so your mileage may vary over with that, but at least the German version that we had is pretty excellent when it comes to that.
And if you are hard pressed and have questions about the game and you happen to have the English translation, you cannot find anything online, hello, we can help you translate and ask questions, but not in video form, but in writing. So just send a message to us, preferably on Board Game Geek, because there is where we look closest for board game stuff. So go for it.
Number 1, I think I should start.
Yes, it's your turn.
Because my number 1 was also mentioned, and that is a very strategic game, which I think...
Do we have the second crossover?
We played a lot, which is called Nochmal, which I did not expect. Now, you might say, well, why do you all like the same games? Actually, we had quite a few dinner games that we got this year, and I think I can do some honorary mentions afterwards. But
yes.
Yeah, Nochmal is a very nice combination out of mindless rolling dice, but then also strategizing with the roll and write things that are going on.
Yeah. My number 1 is a game that we haven't talked about yet on this video, but we have a Gamer's Couch for it. And the game that I loved most for dinner time was Fugitive. It is a 2-player dinner game. And we have a video about it. Again, lots of iCards will pop up if they can pop up. I can only place 5. So there might be links in the description box to all the other games if we had them on the couch. But I really love this game. It ticks so many boxes for me for a 2-player game and a dinner game. And it was, well, the game I enjoyed most. And I have to say, it was this was the list that was most difficult for me to put together, because there were so many good games that I was sitting there and like, can I have top 30 maybe instead of top 3? I really was hard pressed, and Fugitive made my personal number 1 this year.
So I'm feeling bad because actually I made an effort trying to get the designer names into my mail, but obviously that didn't work out with the copying. But
they're going to be in post production. They're going to be here. They're going to be edited.
But with this one, I think I'm good enough to remember. So congratulations to Tim Faust, and I think Inka and Marcus Brandt did nochmal.
I know that they made the exit.
Yes,
they should. Yes. The designer names were on the screen. You have read them.
I'm pretty sure it's those two. So congratulations,
here's your award.
To the one and the two of you. We don't have a real award to give out, but still, you have earned our appreciation for putting out some really damn fun games that we enjoy.
Yes, you got time on the channel. Which list would you like to go next?
No, you decide. You said you deciding the next one.
Okay, let's go with the second most difficult list for me to put together.
What's the grand finale? Is it co-op or competitive?
The grand finale is going to be co-op because that was the list easiest for me to put together. The competitive. Number 3, it has definitely the coolest start player marker of this year, if not in history.
May I guess which one it is?
It's Al Pacino.
Yeah,
Of course, Altiplano is the game, but Al Pacino was the coolest start player marker, and it is one of the games that I enjoyed most this year when it came to competitive gaming.
That's a little bit Cult of the New as well, or is it?
No, because it ticks the Orléans box in my personal book, and you cannot look at it. It's the personal book. But
Orléans is on second place.
No, we didn't buy it this year. Otherwise, it would have been. I really like Orléans.
Just putting Orléans on second and one of the expansions on first.
Invasion.
We're done. Actually, I like Trade and Intrigue more than Invasion.
Okay. We didn't talk about those. Also not on the couch because they're just expansions. But instead of going with an expansion... I definitely liked Altiplano a little more than the Orléans expansions, but the base game Orléans does scratch the same itch as Altiplano does, and since we bought it this year and there were... I don't want to take away too much beforehand, but there were many good games, but... very few games that got me very excited for competitive this year. So there were really good games, but very few games. So Altiplano made at least half of a and that is why it is number 3.
And now, since this is perfectly scripted, and you guessed that because we have the orchestra playing in the background, and
do I have to put in music?
Making the little tush sound when we announce the winner.
Good thing I still have music.
Because we are even in this award format super professional, we entirely forgot to name our honorary mentions for the dinner game.
I did mine.
I didn't.
I said the honorary would be Star Realm, which is yours.
Okay, so well, I have a few that made it on my list. One actually being Indian Summer, which I count as a dinner game. It's similar to Star Realms, fast enough, and I actually like it better than Cottage Garden.
We talked about that also in the video.
Yeah, and the other one that got on there was actually Sagrada for the dice stacking, and it's just a beautiful looking game. And the third one I want to mention that is also a beautiful game and that I really enjoyed for being a little bit different is The Grizzled, which is
like a lot of couches I see. Ding, ding, ding. Couch gamers.
It's a very nice co-op dinner game, which there aren't that many. So that is something. Okay,
now you were saying number 3. Do you have honorary mentions for the competitive list? Because I don't.
No, I can probably. So my number 3 is actually was from a surprising newcomer in the design space, a man that shares his name with a cat that loves lasagna, which is Richard Garfield, which apparently never has designed anything before that.
Sure.
And now comes to the scene with a game that is about a very fluffy combat in the Bunny Kingdom, which was also a total surprise to me. I actually did not expect to like this game as much as I do, but I really enjoy playing it. The strategic aspects of it that kind of trump the fluffiness of the bunnies. But it is also one of those games that just looks really cool the more you play it and the more the stuff goes out. So
and again, ding, Game of Scotch.
So that is my number 3 pick for this year. Congratulations, Richard Garfield. I hope that if you are probably not watching this, but if you are watching this, I wish you many other successful games in your future.
Make something like Treasure Hunter, so I have a chance.
There seems to be a lot of promise in the career ahead of you. Please, number 2. Go. Oh no, I need to start.
You need to start this time round. Yes.
Verflucht is the German word for the next thing. So,
it's not written with an F, so Friedemann cannot make a game out of it.
So probably you will now say, well, you are all liking the same stuff.
No, we don't.
But we do, because my number 2 game is actually Altiplano, which I also like very much, and
because of Al Pacino, right?
For the reasons I think I mentioned in the Game of Scotch is that it is the essential or the kind of fully evolved version of Orléans, and it is quick to play comparatively, and just fun, and you can still try out different things and try to win and
try to lose.
Try to win with different strategies is what I meant.
I'm sorry.
And it is also one of those games that is actually quite nice to look at.
My number 2 is kind of a cheat, and I'm very sorry for not having it approved beforehand, but I felt I'm just going to go for it.
So
and if you're mad, I don't care. If you say I'm cheating, I don't care. I couldn't decide because my number 2 is 2 games that are separate and do belong together. They're King Domino and Queen Domino. I do love those games. I didn't put them into the dinner game section because Queen Domino for me isn't a dinner game. King Domino, however, is. But those games are just delightful. We will... I don't know if we're going to make a couch for Queen Domino. We haven't decided on that yet, but I may spoil it here for you that the 2 of them put together, Queen and King Domino, make a wonderful family game that is, well, introducing heavier planning strategies, maybe. So it could be a gateway game for that. King Domino standalone is just a wonderful, sweet, very light domino, it's in the name, game for families. And the Queen pretty much adds to that and makes it a little more meat, as queens do, like I heard. But I really love them. They're still quick to play, but they're not light and boring and repetitive after game number 5, because the Queen comes in now and it adds to the meat, and you can have the 2 of them. Yeah, they are like a couple for me. As much as that is a spoiler, actually Queen Domino also made my shortlist, but didn't get into my top 3. So I decided on picking Queen Domino because they are similar enough, I think, to have one. Or I think taking both and then calling it the Domino Big Box or something like that would probably also work very fine. But yeah, I'm sorry for cheating there, because King Domino is still different for me than playing Queen Domino solo, like without the king. So.
Perfectly fine. So, what is your number one?
My number one is a very heavy game.
Oh, I have the feeling we have the same number one game. Let's quiz each other.
It melts my brain.
Does it have a Gamer's Couch?
Yes.
Does it have the Gamer's Couch to date with the highest amount of production effort put into it?
Yes.
Then
post-production effort, not production. Post-production.
Also production effort. Because it might have required people being present multiple times at the same time. Then I think
post-production was more.
Then I think we can congratulate our number one winner. No, it's like the rating. Anachrony.
David, that was awesomely done.
And I
congratulations. It's
I'm feeling bad because I looked that up and it's actually 3 designers on there.
Yes, but I remember at least one name.
It's David Tosi.
They're all going to be on the screens. They're going to blink on the screens.
But still, guys, this is a great game. It's I very much enjoy it for the theme as well as for the mechanics. It is unfortunately also the game that we don't get to play often enough as we would like to.
Because people got to work. Why though?
It's that's the curse of, if you want to talk about a new game each week, you kind of have to select which ones. At least if you also have other things to do in your life, and sometimes we need to do that sacrifice. Not at last for you, the viewer, who's the real winner of tonight. Maybe, probably not, but feel honored,
feel awarded.
Yes. So that's our competitive
Now you took away
games.
The award that would come at the end. But that was competitive. I do love this game. We gushed about it in the Gamer's Couch, and
So
it's just great.
Talking about runner-ups.
For competitive, or
I have another game on here that I actually put on, but didn't quite make my top 3, which is very recent, and we haven't done a video for that, and that is Photosynthesis, which is a very beautiful game. I like the idea of the mechanic of you having a sun that goes around and grows trees.
We will have a video for that early 2018.
And I like the theme of that, because it's something that doesn't show up as often, which I think is refreshing, to say the least. And I mentioned it just looks nice having these trees on the board and going on.
Don't take away too much. Save a little bit for the Gamer's Couch.
I will, but it is. There's not enough going on for me to put it on my top 3.
Yeah.
And also it has the drawback of you sometimes get, not confused, but there's a lot of counting going on, a lot of busy work that is not really directly you playing the game, but kind of let's see who's in the lead for this round.
Well, how many points you got to work with, pretty much. So. Yeah, I don't have honorary mentions for the competitives. It was a weird year, I have to say. Every year in board gaming is different, and some years there are just so many games in all kinds of categories coming out that it's overwhelming. But this year, funny enough, and I don't know if it's just a personal view or feeling, or if it maybe is really this way in the industry, I felt that the competitive games, the really great ones, they were far and few between. But the industry thrived on the cooperative games a little more, maybe in comparison.
I think
I don't know if I'm just.
If I had to take a guess, then I would assume that it is easier to get new players into playing board games with cooperative games than it is with competitive games.
Yeah, there's way less aggression.
With cooperative games, you are way more or it's way easier to say, hey, sit down, play a game with us, even if you don't know the rules from the start, we'll help you out.
Yeah.
By the way, I just realized I have another game on my honorary mentions list, which I think I just didn't put down because it technically certainly wasn't released in 2017, but I think
we said the games that we bought from the last Game was Couch till now are valid for being on the list.
I think we had it lying around for some time, and that was Millennium Blades, which is...
We bought that at BGG 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's...
Let me see if it was on my last year's list. I think it was.
That game was at the unfortunate point where I couldn't decide if I put it on this year's list, if that counts. But that is a terrific game, one that is almost like a full day event playing that.
It doesn't say.
If I had put it on my list, it probably would have been... I probably would have two number ones. It would have been Anachrony and Millennium Blades, because I like
really
both
like the game,
for different things, and I'm as I said, this guy Richard Garfield also made another game which I very much enjoyed back then, which is Magic, and Millennium Blades is...
Oh, he made a great one too, Treasure Hunter.
No, Treasure Hunter was an
awesome
early
game for me.
Early card drafting prototype thing that then kind of worked its way into the Bunny Kingdom, and that's cool.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Let's go to the co-ops, shall we?
So congratulations to our competitive game winners.
Yes.
Co-op
Shall we
games.
go co-op? Do you want to go first, or do I want to go first?
I can go first.
Do you have honorary mentions?
Yes, later on.
Okay, good.
So I have a solid number 3, and actually those two who made that game already won one award here, and my number 3 would be the Exit series.
Oh.
And I don't want to particularly go down on one of them. I think I put down the Secret Lab over the last one we played was the
the icy station on the North Pole, whatever it is.
Something like that. But I very much like those games because they make me feel clever. May that be as it is. That's probably just how I feel, but at least that game makes me feel that way, and that's a good job, I guess. I really like the puzzliness and the kind of the how difficult the challenge is in those games. It's a little bit mind bending, and sometimes you're not sure what the rules are, and if you knew, then everything would be very easy, but you don't want to make something wrong. You
don't want to assume if you haven't played a game before. We
also played the Unlock series for the first time at BGG Con, and I would have to play one or two more of those to make a decision. But that is also something I very much like. Although that sometimes felt to me more like a hidden object game where you're trying to find stuff on the cards, which may be just the scenario that we have been playing. But for in terms of this award, I very much like this Exit series thing because it's a 90 minutes of fun thing you do once. It's my board game equivalent to seeing a movie at the cinema.
Yeah, exactly.
And your number 3? My
number 3 is a wonderful game that we also got at Essen this year, and that we have in other shapes and forms. But I came to the realization I like this version best of all of them, and it's called Codenames. Duet. The Duet. I really like this as a co-op version. This is so awesome. Instead of you trying to trump the other team with your clever hint giving, you actually work together, and you play off the subtext from what you say as a gift giver. Jesus Christ, I'm going ahead already. Of a It's not a gift. It might be a gift if I give you a clue, but it is the clue giver.
You mean the spy master who's supposed to...
Yeah, but you're not really. Because you're not necessarily... Or it doesn't feel like you try to find your agents on the floor,
Well,
but it's more like...
Kinda.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels more like we try to solve a puzzle together, and we play a lot with subtext, intonation, personal jokes that we might have in the group or the two people that we're playing with. And it feels more... Or I feel more anxiety when I give the clue, do not screw it up. And it feels, I have a higher heart rate when I play this version than I do with the first one that we played, where I have a team with me. I still have high blood pressure there too, but not the same kind of anxiety that I do have with this version. It's awesome.
The only thing that is actually different is that the clue cards are two-sided, and that they are kind of, it is predetermined how many overlap with each other, which is otherwise I would say, I mean, codenames duet or dut, as we say here in Germany.
No, we say duet. We just make fun saying dut. Don't you?
Don't give
him false German lessons.
You can quote me on that. You can go.
Don't give him false German lessons.
And then say that the German. It's the German way is the correct way to say.
No, just don't.
That is. I think in my mind, Codenames Duet is too similar to base Codenames. It's just that one change that actually very much different.
Puts it on top of the Codenames games for me.
The thing I like about that most, and I think it's fair to discuss this.
Yeah, because we're not going to have a couch for that one either, because we had the other Codenames.
It is very similar, and the thing I like about Duet more is actually the that you can strategize a little bit by inferring information from that card, seeing, because you see, well, there's now 3 spots with the assassin on here, but if one already has one of the green guys on there, you know the other 2 cannot be
because you have
one of the clues you're looking for.
Yeah, it's not just one assassin every player has. It's 3 of them, and you pretty much share the terrain to find out the clues. You have overlaps, like he said, but you have also more traps to fall into. And we had wonderful, witty games playing this. And I liked the pictures, the codename pictures, the fewest?
The least.
Yeah, the least.
Yeah. But that's because I've talked to people who said they like Codenames pictures more because the pictures are more ambiguous and you have more flexibility. That is actually what I dislike about Codenames.
At least
pictures.
with the German language, I can maybe see that I would like it more if I wouldn't be a German speaker, because our language is so
specific,
versatile. That with the pictures, we just get lost. Other languages, say English, they have way fewer words that we have. So if I would be a native English speaker and not being able to speak German, I might say pictures is kind of cooler. Even, but with German, it doesn't work for me. So I like the duet most.
I think
from all of them.
The other part that puts anything with words over that is that I like those multiple meaning puns, words, kind of stuff, and you don't get it with pictures.
What did we have? Oh, where you were so mad at me that I didn't get.
When I one of
the last games that we played.
Yeah, I know. I said a light meal, and then you pointed at coffee, and then I said
there was quark, which is like a
And then
cottage cheese kind of thing.
And then I said,
and a coffee, of course. Coffee is a full meal.
If you pick coffee as a meal, the next coffee you will see ever will be a meal, because it'll be in a consistency that you can use a spoon and a fork and a knife to consume it. He didn't like me, but for me, coffee. So mad. I was so mad.
Coffee is a full breakfast for me. Come on.
So,
oops. But yeah, that was the number 3.
Yeah, my number 2 is actually very easy.
Which is it?
I don't have a number 2.
You don't? Do you have 2 number 2s?
No.
Do you have 2 number 1s?
Maybe.
Oh, that's cheating. But I did cheat with King Domino, so I'm not going to be mad at you. So I have a number 2. It's a wonderful game that we played fairly recently, and that I'm kind of antsy to go on further playing. It's one of the campaign games, and it's called Gloomhaven, and I cannot wait to have this on the table again, have all the folks together and play. This is a wonderful co-op game that leaves you with your character enough agency and not just feel like you're playing part of something, like I sometimes do with the expansions of Time Stories, but you're developing your own character and you happen to play all towards the same goal. So I really liked this game, aside from it being gorgeous and having minis and really being
and surprises and being a legacy game.
True. Yeah, that's another thing that is in there, and So I'm afraid this is going to be a board game portmanteau, because I will throw in my 2 number 1s in here, and we will find out that we probably have one in common. Depending on which one I name first, it will either be like a sandwich or a crossed version, because I'm pretty sure that your number 1 is my other number 1. So how could that be?
So my first number 1 is surprise, Gloomhaven, because I could not make the decision which I like most. I mean, maybe I could like a hair's breadth go for the other one. So if you really like, if you force me on a thread of life to pick a number 2, then Gloomhaven would probably be my number 2. I really like this game. I like the different mechanical things that come up. I like the story, the world that's been built there, and that is very enjoyable to me. And yes, I hope we get to seeing more of that anytime soon. My other number 1 is a game that is not as heavy on the gameplay, but a little bit, I think, heavier. Well, actually not really heavier on the world building, but a game that makes you, again, and there's a theme for the games I picked, makes you feel clever at times, because your brain and your way of remembering and being able to orient yourself is actually a huge boon in that game, and that is one of the cooler things about this is when somebody points at it and says, I know where we are. So my number 1 game would be Seventh Continent.
Continent.
I would have been surprised if that didn't make
this your list. I have the same heartfelt thing going on, like which one is the one that is the number 1? And there was a few like
we
particular
played Seventh Continent also more than Gloomhaven.
That is true, because we got it earlier in the year, but my deciding factor actually was that we played with David and Joe at BGG, and that particular game did all of the fluffy unicorn cotton candy things this year. It is, if you would ask me what the best memory is this year when it comes to gaming, it would also be this moment. It would also be
not
one
the Kingdom Death moment where your head explodes.
No. That's another one. We gotta tell that story too. But of course, it was exactly this. You saying, "Oh, we've been there. I know where we are," because David and Joe were two players that played other curses together, and the two of us had played different curses together. So the four of us sitting at this table, having planned this date to play the game months ahead, and saying, "Oh, we have to play a curse together. We have to." And then we're sitting there, and at one point, not very far into the game, we come to this tile that you're laying down, and David says, "Oh, we've been there." And I say, "Yeah, we've been over there. So we are here and here and here, and there's the bridge and there's the waterfall." And he's like, "Yeah, and there's the swamp, blah, 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 because we've been there." So our past experiences came together to make our game great. I was delighted.
And again, it's really difficult for me to put one over the other. I would also not be surprised if that changes throughout the year, and that's really why I kind of have to pick Gloomhaven and Seventh Continent as my number one, because I'm sure if I play Gloomhaven a little bit more, I probably will fall in love even more with the tactical aspects of the game, and that is something that is challenging on a different level. I mean, the curses are kind of, I think if I played a curse once, I don't have that big of an incentive to go back to replay it, even though there's some variance in there.
If there's a major thing that changes things up with a curse, I definitely would. But
in general, that would be Seventh Continent would be the game where a new curse has to come out to get me back to playing it. And with Gloomhaven, I can see replaying the same stuff over and over again, just with different classes, and getting to play that. In Seventh Continent, I don't care that much about the character I'm playing. I'm
because I play the coolest character of them all. But
I'm trying to maximize what I get from my character. But it's not like, I don't feel that the characters have that big of a mechanical impact unless you're maybe playing Frankenstein.
Or you play, what was her name? Mary, the one that you played with brown hair. She wasn't really helpful. Not the botanist that Joe played, the ginger one. The one I played last, and the one that made us win the game, because she was our combined effort.
Because she was really good at navigating through the icy maze.
Sure.
Which I don't want to spoil for you, but
also another thing.
That was one of those games where like half of the game, I don't think I'm contributing here much, except for what I actually as a person am bringing to the table. And then as the game went on, it's like, I'm useful.
At one point. And of course, my character falling to pieces because the same thing that I said earlier, we've been here, that and that is where we are, blah, blah, blah. It can also backfire big time if you trust the other player that said, yeah, we were here at exactly the spot and we did the thing, and you could choose between two things and they were both good, and you just take the good and say, yeah, okay, I'm gonna get something good for us, and then something bad happens and throws us back. A lot. Let's put it this way. It was really great, but it was like, whoa, so unexpected for all of us. Okay, now we got to put an hour in more. And the other thing was that I was really happy that we got to play the curse in 5 hours. We made it in 2 days, in 5 hours playtime, and we did the curse, and the ending was so surprising. I did not see it coming. So yeah, it's just things like that make another game be put on spot number 2 and not on spot number 1. But otherwise, I would be with you. Your honorary mentions.
There's a few actually.
I have one.
So one would be, and then might be another crossover, then would be the latest Time Stories expansion, Lumen Fide.
Yeah, this is Sparkles.
Which had a wonderful moment with Tina, which I cannot explain to you. But it led to me generally being angry. for making a move. Where is it? I know this is going to be bad. Why are you doing that?
And we're saying it's going to be bad.
And she did it anyway. And then that led to actually some really cool aftermath story points in that. So that's also surprisingly co-op games tend to be on our list higher if they have these memorable moments that
not only that, but
it's almost if it's not the game, but it's the people you play them with
yeah, for sure,
the fun you are having together.
Exactly. I mean, the games are awesome, and if
I should say that's a great motto. We can now cut this short, but
no, if they have a solo version, there you can just enjoy the game. But what makes games great are the people that you play with, and that you have certain experiences and stories and giggles and all of that with. So of course they elevate the game. So, yeah, but that would be my honorary mention as well, the Time Stories expansion.
So, stuff that I had to pick out of the list, but it's still great, one being Mechs vs. Minions.
We had that on last year's list.
Was it last year's list? But the review was this year.
That is true.
Oh, okay.
The review came this year
Then I goofed. You haven't heard what I said. But other games that are on here.
Let me look at 2016 if something comes up again.
Actually, I quite enjoy Magic Maze, although that didn't make my list like the final three, because that's a game that is that's not something I can play very often.
Yeah.
It is quite stressful, but if I had to pick a co-op party game, I probably would go for that one, because
no,
while we
not
played other
game,
games like Mountains of Madness that are cooperative, I think Magic Maze is it has the most potential for hilariousness.
That is true, but
I like the idea of breaking in somewhere.
Yeah, I would prefer the mountain, because Magic Maze, when it's loud around you, is really horrible.
Yeah. And the other one that at least gets a mention would be Apocrypha, because I quite enjoy the game system that is also partial to Pathfinder. And I like how they improved upon that. And while we had some critique when we talked about this game, I still very much enjoy playing that. So
Yep. I'm with you.
And the cooperative nature actually in that, with how can I support you? Can you give me that? And that is something that sometimes isn't as pronounced in cooperative games, which I enjoy if it's there.
Yeah, the trade mechanism is way more pronounced in competitive games.
And
at least this year.
And that is it, yes. At least for those. I think last year we had also negative categories.
Sure, disappointing games, surprising games, best moment, worst moment.
Do you have a surprising thing that is different from anything we have mentioned so far, or? I mean,
no.
We didn't prepare that?
No. They were all on the competitive list. I have to say, in general, I was kind of surprised how many great cooperative games came out this year, and how they kind of overtook the competitive games. I'm a sucker for cooperative games, so of course they're very likely to be liked by me. But there's good ones, and then there's great ones. And I could have named more great games that were competitive than the list is long. So I was kind of surprised by that. Do you have a surprise for this year?
I think I mean,
other than Bunny Kingdom?
I already mentioned Bunny Kingdom, but that I think was just surprising because I went in with some preconceptions that weren't as great.
Accurate.
I mean, the thing is that one of the things that surprised me is that if we look at our top games, there's a good amount of Kickstarter games in there that and sometimes have production values and content that is truly amazing in comparison to what you would get off the shelf games. No, there's not really
You
a
were
surprise,
saying...
but I have to say that there's some stuff we actually haven't played yet, and that could have been a surprise. Like, I know that Pandemic Legacy Season 2 is supposedly different from Pandemic, which might be a thing I would be totally into. We just didn't get to playing it yet. So there's that.
Do you have a disappointing thing? Because
I certainly have.
There's... Well, I don't want to say my expectations were low this year, but if I didn't like something, they didn't even get the disappointing. They got the meh treatment, which is kind of weird and maybe even worse. But it's... I didn't, no, not really a thing where I said, oh, I expected so much and damn, it's a disappointment.
The thing that was disappointing, borderline frustrating, because I could see where this could go or could have been, would be the Dark Souls board game, which was
yeah, I wasn't invested with the story and the background and coming from video games like you were, so.
The video games? The Vertigo games, the one. Ouch! Please, this is professional. I'm wearing a tie. Cannot just bump my head like this. You have to bump it slowly. No, the
hold on, let me go in.
Again, really I'm not beating on a dead horse, but the thing that frustrated me with Dark Souls was not necessarily a thematic thing, although that was first and foremost saying like, hey, this seems like a game done by someone who had only been explained to what the video game is like, and then kind of drawing the wrong conclusions from that. But also like playing games that have like AI cards or have program movement for the enemies in a cooperative sense. That's Dark Souls is just too light for my taste and too repetitive and could have done a little bit better diversifying at like the base gameplay aspects, and I can live with having less fancy plastic if the game itself is good, and that is. For example, I think that was last year where we said Kingdom Death is on our list, or was it the year before? It's surprising how long we've been doing this, but that is something...
Don't remember, but tell the story about Kingdom Death, because I forgot to say it. It was one of the great moments as well, and since we probably won't have the game on the table, tell the story.
So, so at this BGG-Con, a good friend of ours asked me to maybe give him a quick introduction to Kingdom Death, because he owns it, he is in love with it, but he didn't get the chance to play it yet. So we sat down and had a game of Kingdom Death where I was just the game master. And so I was just the guy who was reading up on rules and clarifying stuff and just telling what is going to happen, which is in Kingdom Death a fun thing because you have these random events and it's like, okay, I know this event is happening, and I can already start giggling in before the die is rolled. And people accuse me of being a mean DM because I took so much joy in the misery of others. Because I was not part of the group. Which,
not mean, but it was a whole other level. There was no empathy for us.
No, I was happy about interesting things happening.
Sure, but you were the lion. You were...
I wasn't making decisions for the lion.
No, but in the sense of, I'm gonna... enjoy having my claws in your face.
So our kind of our resident victim, which would be Sarah, when it comes to lions, in that scenario also played with our character, and surprise, surprise,
Earl Grey. I was Earl. No, I wasn't Earl Grey. Who was
she already had a severe head injury and got hit again, and now had to hit a roll on the critical injury table. And what do you say? I mean, you can either get away with losing an eye, maybe an ear, maybe looking like
having
cauliflower or something
or
like
have
that
the
afterwards.
mohawk hair afterwards.
Or you can just lose your head. Or maybe, well, at least it didn't explode.
No, I didn't explode. That would be the one thing that
you always have
would
to.
be worse.
You have to appreciate the good out of a situation like that. So.
Well, our friends were amazed by my wonderful head rolling across the prairies like these straw balls that you see in the Wild West films. It was my head
and
going there.
While I understand that some people might say, well, Kingdom Death has a lot of randomness to it. It's like, but it's these events and these moments in the right group with the right amount of heckling that make this a fantastic game. That
it was a wonderful birthday game.
I enjoyed it very much, saying, ha, you're...
No, it was a wonderful birthday gift. I mean, I really liked being decapitated on my special day of decay. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. Another award that we have to give out is, of course, to you folks, which means thank you for watching all the Gamers Couches this year. It's very, very much appreciated.
We don't know if they watched all of them.
All the people that watched the 45 videos we produced. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, luckily this one will be and I'm looking on the time.
Just don't expect any time frame for how long this video is. I mean, it's 3 years now that we produce those videos. You could get to the point where say, I'm just not going to care anymore how long it is.
I don't care, but I'm still trying to make an effort.
Yeah, good. So I'm cutting out all the parts where you talk, and then the video will be shot. No. Another award. Thank you for filming 45 wonderful videos with me and having 45 Saturdays or Fridays, respectively, where I had a lot of fun talking board games with you.
You wouldn't believe how much it takes me to really talk about games. It's a really challenging thing that I have to endure and convince myself to. You
make such an effort each week to come to the table and play and talk and
there's so few moments that you can talk about. I mean, our year also had I'm so gonna get killed for that, slightly elderly ladies trying to fix a submarine or to defuse a bomb, while other people violently screaming at them, trying to figure out, no, you need to use the thing like this. Don't talk into the computer mouse.
It was so much fun.
So we had a good year, I think, in the world of board games, and that we, I think, are thankful for. And one part of that is you folks showing up and like and subscribe. No, it's not that. It's just showing up and watching us and goofing around and maybe commenting and sharing and getting up.
Hopefully laughing at least once every Sunday. Yeah. That would be great. Now the question is, do you want to go fun, work, fun, or work, fun, fun for the rest of the video?
I'd say let's do the guessing first, and then open up these two.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, I was asking you if you. Okay. So, work.
Now, there will be. Now we need to do the sound again from Who's Gonna Be a Millionaire.
I can't use it. It's Mission Impossible.
No, I already did it. Now you need to give me a hint about your next. Do you remember?
That game? No, I do. That game is very similar to another board game.
Oh.
Which...
Does it have a board? Are there dice?
I'm gonna smack you.
Maybe a card? Does it have a card? Or another card?
Smack you. It has one particular thing in common with one other board game where I misunderstand things when people say something, and then what I understand is way more goofy. So it's also kind of bloody with a little bit of a apocalypse kind of a feeling to it. It's a cooperative game. that also has a video game attached to it, and there's very Christian things that I understand in names.
Is it a game where you have to be in mood to play it?
I have to be? Sure.
No, everybody who has to play it has to be in a particular mood. And if it would be a heavy metal LP, you would play it backwards.
Oh yeah!
True.
Yes, I did see that coming. Great, wonderful. Yes.
And is it about pain and suffering, like
yes.
someone clapping on your freshly redone tattoo?
No, I was south of your freshly redone.
You hit the.
No.
So
the bird is way higher up.
So I need to call the Reverend for guidance on my spiritual mood. And ask for deliverance by rocket launcher.
Yep.
Okay. So I guess you have a good chance of figuring out what this is.
You have time over the holidays to do so. I mean, if you don't have anything to do.
And it's very fitting for the Christmas season.
Yeah. It's gonna come out 27th. And by the way, yes, for all of you who guessed Ice Cool for this week, you were all correct. And now we have to cheat a little more because we cheated so much in this video already. Because we're not filming anymore for Gamers Couch this year, he has to open both of the Advent Calendar boxes today to, have the thing done before the vacation sets in.
Again, let's start with... No?
Yours.
I don't hear you. I don't hear you screaming by.
Do I hear you screaming at one point?
You've tried to trick me.
I didn't only try. I tricked you.
So this is birch, I think. So also very very nice looking. So what do we have here? We have Anton as Sherlock Holmes, I would presume.
Yeah, Sherlock Quack.
Elementary, my dear Quack, or my dear Psyduck. Mm-hmm. Very nice.
And I think the coolest thing is he has a wonderful chair. I want that chair.
With magnifying glasses. I was thinking because they could have been cherries.
No, they are
cherries.
They're magnifying glasses. He's in style.
I see. And this could be a board game for the 3rd of Advent.
Maybe. The 3rd of the Advent.
Let's see. What do we have here? It is a game by Bruno Cathala about scientists and dinosaurs. And the scientists, I think, for research, want to steal the eggs of the dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs have to kill the scientists. I think that's what I recall about this. Yeah.
This game was recommended to me by fellow gamers, and they say, "Oh, if you like this, you will like that."
Yeah, I heard good things about that. It just
you will like
never made our collection for.
No, but you gotta give me a chance here and there. If I have to supposedly fill an advent calendar, and now we are in the future. Woohoo!
Thank you very much for having bloodshed and investigation of bloodshed combined in a single.
You know, I pack those packages by theme. You know,
I see. So now it is Christmas time because we are on the 4th of Advent.
4th Advent. Sunday. We're way in the future.
Advent the 4th.
Other people call it Christmas.
That's also why Anachrony went so high on my list because
there's no comet in here.
No, it allows you to screw around with editing and time. So this is a more orange. I mean, it's really difficult to figure out which type of wood this is because it's already painted. But I think that'll do. And we have An owl with a duck.
It's his first girlfriend.
Well,
he's kind of scared still and overwhelmed.
I was about to say, the facial expression is like, it's not only the first girlfriend, it's also the first date, and she said, you're paying.
Yeah.
And then...
It's his first date, you are correct. It's his first girlfriend, he's kind of overwhelmed and doesn't know what to do, and he doesn't know if she expects a goodnight kiss or not, and he waited so long that she fell asleep.
That sounds actually not too far from reality.
I'm sorry. Like I said, I have wonderful stories in my head when I come up with those paintings. It's not just, hey, let's put him in a funny costume. I have a whole story of why this happens.
So this means this is a game that has to do with falling asleep or being paralyzed by fear. Let's see. We have the dwarves, or die Zwerge as it is in German, while I'm trying not to have the lights...
Yeah, no glare.
Burn your eyes out with a glare.
Yes.
I have seen this actually quite often at Essen, because that typically shows up in, or that used to show up in the Kickstarter booth, I think. Which I heard good things about it, but since I'd never read the book this is apparently based on, there was no real draw for me, and I never have spent a lot of time with it. However, just looking at the box, I see 2 to 5 players, which is already a good thing for it, and I think we will check this out.
I hope so.
There's dwarves in there, which means I have to sit like this. I'm sorry, it's very difficult for me to sit like this because I'm not a dwarf. But awkwardness in social encounters is certainly a thing I would associate with dwarves. So that goes with very nicely with the date of the Psyduck.
Yeah. And dwarves sometimes come across other species. And,
also both very small.
Mm-hmm. That too.
That works.
And of course, somewhere behind Psyduck is the axe that is in front of the game on the cover.
I'm pretty sure it's more the owl with the axe.
No.
They're vicious, hunting at night and...
But look, she has eyeshadow in pinkish tones. She has long lashes. She's very cute.
They are very... beautiful predators that are still predators in the world. So,
like a good old raptor.
Like so. But again, thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Is a very nice Advent present, and I'm pretty sure there will be much fun be had.
Hopefully,
with dwarfing and or murdering scientists, because it's a spirit of Christmas.
Yes.
Screw the raptors.
Scrooge the raptor?
No.
What?
No.
What?
No.
No? Okay. So let's close.
Let's end this year, because when we say this year ends now, the year is over, and then this black hole is there that just keeps on going
again, anachrony
until we get back, and that's how life and time works.
Works. That too. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, again, leave them in the comment section below. If you happen to have a top 3 list for the categories that we presented, you can leave them in the comment section below. I'm very curious. So is he on what your favorite games of this year were. And we're gonna see you on the 7th of January in 2018. With more gray hair on his part, more wrinkles on my part, and new board games to talk about.
My magnificent grey beard.
Yeah.
Which qualifies me as a tall dwarf.
As a dwarf.
Tall dwarf.
Yeah, the tall dwarf.
Dwarf. Maybe not.
No, let's go with a tall dwarf. I like that. So come back next year, enjoy your holidays, have a wonderful Christmas and New Year, and we wish you all the best for what's to come in the future.
Happy holidays, happy end of years, festivities. Do it like we do and just go for one glass of wine, maybe a second. Drink in moderation, board game in less moderation. Have fun, see you next year.
Board game excessively and drink moderately.
Yes, something like that. Well, I mean, drink water excessively, well, not that excessively, but
no, but alcohol maybe.
Try to sustain your vital functions if possible.
Yeah, but board game excessively.
Yes.
That's always a good way to go end the year.
Yeah. So again, congratulations to all our prestigious winners
Thanks for making board games that are great.
The award that we cannot...
It's the invisible award.
Yes, feel blessed and awarded. And if someone says, I don't believe you that you got the award from the two folks at Gamers Couch, send them to me. I will ignore their question, and but while you're sending them here, they can like, share, and subscribe, and watch this video, and then see how you got the award. Actually,
yes, this is proof they got the award.
Thing, yes,
yes, definitely. This is how it goes. So have fun, folks. Take good care. We're gonna see you.
Goodbye.
Bye. And now you have to sing Auld Lang Syne. Can you sing it?